I'm not going to worry about your level of concern.
Yoy and double yoy.
We talking about
Twitter.
Triple yoy.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Quadruple yoy.
That's just dirty rumors. I'm not overly concerned about all that little cute minutia. I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
We mock ourselves.
It's time for the podcast that asks, what Jin's talking about? The conversation about the Steelers' social media conversation, exposing all your hot and toxic takes. I'm Kyle Kreis, running solo in front of the off-white wall. And it's the long off season of the soul, even longer due to the fact that we still don't know the answer to the biggest question there is. QB22 plus the few. Where are you? We've got some work to do now. QB22 plus few. Who are you? We need some help from you now. You know we got a mystery to solve. Which QB do we want, gold and black? But don't get sad. If QBs do what they should do, then they can earn themselves a yellow jacket. Where's our QB? Well, we know who it's not going to be. Russie. QB is not Russie. Bums me out. Shall we get to some of these takes? The hot and toxic takes start now with at Sharp Football, Warren Sharp. Show me a team that has no clue what it's doing at the most important position in football. 100% QB room turnover each year. Oh my gosh. You know, these people who are purposely looking for ways to talk ish. Anyone, even the most hateful, even the biggest haters in Steeler Nation.
You are a hater.
Even the biggest of them should have enough memory, short-term memory. That's a thing that's not really in big supply among Steeler Nation, nor long-term memory. But hasn't this organization done everything it's possibly could besides trading away the whole roster to figure out the QB position? You know, 100% turnover in three consecutive years. Isn't that the proof that they've turned over every stone? Mitch Trubisky was probably one of, if not the premier quarterback free agent in that market. You knew what you had with Mason, and people in Steeler Nation thought Mason should be the man, should be the franchise QB. Then, of course, that didn't work out. They brought in Kenny Pickett. Spent a first-round draft pick the first time since Ben. Haven't needed a reason since Ben. But still, that's how frequently that happens, right? Ben, Mark Malone, Terry Bradshaw, Kenny Pickett. First-round Steeler quarterbacks drafted in the first round. So it's not like they don't know what they're doing at the position. They're doing everything they can, looking for something to stick as quickly as possible. It wasn't Mason. It wasn't Mitch. It wasn't Kenny. Went and got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. You would think at least one of them would stick. Didn't happen. So now it looks like it's back to Mace, which the Tennessee isn't drafting first because of his looks. So it's Mace, Aaron Rodgers, maybe. They're doing everything they can. Steelers are bringing in gold jacket after gold jacket from Russell Wilson. Now maybe Aaron Rodgers. Mitch Trubisky, the biggest free agent quarterback in that market. Kenny Pickett, the most researched draft pick in Kevin Colbert's history. So he said. So no, it's not the team that has no idea. It's not a team that doesn't have any idea what it's doing with the quarterback. They're turning over every stone. These haters purposely for traction on Twitter. Like, there's more to life than outrage fake traction. When you get past that, you're going to find a lot of things in life a lot more rewarding. You know, turn off Instagram. Turn on Instabrain. Okay. The takes continue with at Blitz_Berg. How will you remember Russell Wilson's short tenure with the Steelers, right? The Russell Wilson era. I really wanted this to stick for 2 years. I thought this would be, I thought maybe there's a chance this would be a Lombardi quarterback. This would be a return to form. It turned out that wasn't the case.
I've trained myself to hate it.
Yeah, the worst collapse for Steelers playoff team in franchise history. So is that what the memory of Russell Wilson is? Right now, that's what it is, because I'm stinging still from the early playoff exit. That right now is the legacy. Quarterback, the biggest Steeler collapse for a playoff team in Steelers history. Because let's be frank, even if I thought Russ was the best quarterback for us in this year, which I did and do, even despite that, let's be real about what Russ didn't do. He didn't throw 30 touchdowns. He didn't throw 3,500 yards. Things that might have been possible coming into the season. Or maybe I was just fooling myself, thinking that Steelers were going to air it out when we knew that it was going to be running pound. The Russell Wilson era, is it going to be looked upon like the Graham era, the Kent Graham era, the Jim Miller era? I guess it's certainly not as bad as the Jim Miller era, but not as good as the Maddox era. That's, the Maddox miracle. There was no Russ miracle. Enough said. There was no Russ miracle. At the Pony Express, Andrew Filipponi. Biggest pile of bull of all time was when Steelers said they wanted Russ or Fields back. Wilson only got $10 million guaranteed. Fields $30 million. Peanuts for starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Tomlin wanted Aaron Rodgers this whole time. Okay, you want to be skeptical like that, Pony? The thing is, I see it this way. I see it as maybe that Art Rooney isn't really on the same page as Tomlin and Kahn. That maybe the people who are making those decisions, I don't want to say they're above his pay grade, obviously not above his pay grade, but maybe it's proof that he's taking himself out of those decisions and letting the team pick their, decide the roster as they deem. Because otherwise, what is it? What did Tomlin not want? Did Tomlin and Kahn not want Russ or Fields? It seems like they were in on Fields, but not for the price. And then it seems like they were never in on Russ at all. So you could either say that Art Rooney was straight up lying, BS. You could say he was not on the same page as Tomlin and Kahn, which I think might be closer to reality. Or it could be something else entirely different. You could say that, maybe he said that to give himself leverage in the Fields negotiations. We still got Russ here, But if that was the case, then we see how that worked, because it didn't. Biggest pile of bull of all time? I don't know. Someone asked that to Art. Who's going to get Art on the phone? I don't think Art's calling into the so-called fan anytime soon, right? So I guess Pony's going to have to wait on that answer. Moving on. At Steeler Nation. If you don't want Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, then you apparently don't want the Steelers to win, says NFL Insider. I'm kind of on this page, though. It's like, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if I want to root for Aaron Rodgers. Does that mean I don't want to root for the Steelers to win? It's going to take some warming up to. If it is Aaron, I'm not until I see the him signing the contract. I don't know if it's true yet, but how am I going to do it? I don't know. I'm sure all it's going to take is that first win, and then I'll be all aboard the Rodgers train. You know what I am thinking of? I'm thinking of starting my own Browns QB jersey, like the Browns, the one that starts with like Tim Couch and then goes all the way down to like Baker Mayfield, like 20 years of quarterbacks. I think I'm ready to start one for the Steelers. I think should I go Roethlisberger, Rudolph, Hodges, Trubisky, Pickett, Wilson, Fields, Wilson, Rodgers. I bet I could go viral with that. It would probably do more than anything this podcast ever did. Well, I guess I got some sewing to do. And that'll make me root for Rodgers. Okay, moving on. How about this take from at Mayhoff CN, Jacques Mayhoff. A source inside the Steelers building shared this tidbit with me this morning. The front offense don't care if Aaron Rodgers is high on marijuana, mushrooms, DMT, or shooting up heroin. The Pittsburgh Steelers organization wants Aaron Rodgers as the next QB of this franchise. All right, of course, this doesn't sound like anything that you ever hear coming out of the front office. Oh, we don't care what he's, But I am wondering if he's going to have... If it's going to be the AB treatment. It's like, this is the conduct we expect from the team, and this is the conduct we expect from Aaron Rodgers, AB. Who else is in that category, Ben, maybe, to an extent? Who knows? It'll be interesting. It's too bad that there's no more Hard Knocks. Even though Hard Knocks was a big letdown, I wouldn't mind seeing some Hard Knocks this offseason just to see some of those conversations. Then again, I watched the Hard Knocks with the Jets, and man, didn't make me an Aaron Rodgers fan. So I don't know if seeing him on Hard Knocks with the Steelers would do anything different. But it'd be interesting. I don't know. Do you think if Rodgers is playing, less than, because Russ was going to Children's Hospital. So, what if we do see Rodgers coming out of the DeCastro dispensary or something? Is he going to take flack for that? Let's just hope off the field maybe let's hope that off the field is our problems and not on the field with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's the best we can hope for. Oh, Aaron Rodgers was talking to TMZ about mushrooms and DMT. Oh no, what's the example he's setting for the kids? Maybe that's the discussion that we can have on the so-called fan. But meanwhile, on the field, we're just talking about wins. Maybe that would make me the Rodgers fan. Maybe I would turn. It's just gonna take wins. Just win, baby, just win. The tweet from at TBBPFB, the Blue Bridge Pod. The Steelers have given Aaron Rodgers a soft deadline of April 21st, which is the first day of off-season activities. A soft deadline? What's a deadline if it's not something you're going to stick to? Oh, yes, it's a soft deadline, meaning it's not a deadline, meaning it can come and go. If Rodgers isn't signed by April 21st, ooh. It's one of those situations where even if he is under contract, he could turn around and say, I'm not feeling it. I'm retiring. And I would hate to think that the longer he goes without a contract, that he wouldn't be considering that as well. You know, the longer the off season lasts, the harder the on season begins. How about this? Back to at the Pony Express, Andrew Filipponi. Steelers fan theory. Aaron Rodgers has a handshake deal with the Steelers, but he'll announce he's coming here on April 9th at Pat McAfee's sold-out show at PBG Paints Arena. Man, you know, coming into this show, I would have been like, oh, I can't handle the drama. But like I said just a couple minutes ago, hey, maybe the off-field stuff is the compromise. We take that in exchange for some solid football play. Only thing is we're going to have to deal with March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months before we find out what we have on the field. Although, you know, there is something about putting showbiz before business. You know, football is our business, and our business is winning. That's something that Mike Tomlin says, you know.
Stats are often for losers.
Yeah, he says that too. So I'm just thinking, like, what does it say about a guy who's putting entertainment, like the Pat McAfee live show at the PBG Paints Arena, before the business of football? Now, I'm sure you could be like, well, he's not studying film in March. Okay, maybe that's true. When does business begin? April 9th? I guess that's better than the soft deadline of April 21st. The hard deadline of a live show at PBG Paints Arena. One more thing on quarterbacks. Is this even No, this isn't quarterbacks. Let's move on. Enough quarterback talk. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be in March, no matter what. Oh, jump the gun. Skip it. Enough QB talk. We're talking con season. Con season. The tweet from at Mark Cabali, insider. 63 of the Steelers' 72 players currently under contract have a 2025 cap hit of less than $5.5 million. You know, this is pretty interesting. This is an interesting stat, even though, as Coach says,
stats are often for losers.
Yeah, we just said that. But this is interesting. You know, we think about the Steelers have the highest paid defense and blah, blah, blah. But look, 63 of the 72 players, so what is that? That's 6 out of 7? 6 out of 7 players making less than $5.5 million. Seems like we have a pretty cheapo team to me. Why so cheap, Con? This is what happens with superstars. You know, you got TJ, Cam, Minka, the Patrick Queen contract, and now the DK Metcalf contract. That's the price you pay for superstars. You got to go cheapo with the rest of the roster. That's why I understand how Mel Blunt can be on Ben's podcast to be like, yeah, this roster has a lot of holes on it still. And I'm thinking, geez, Blunt, how, you know, we've got Patrick Queen, we've got Cam Hayward, we've got TJ Watt, we've got Joey Porter Jr., we've got Minka Fitzpatrick. But then I'm thinking, well, I guess 63 of the 72 players can't even make $6 million. So maybe we got this cheapo team. I don't know. Or we're just so young. That just shows maybe how young the team is. The roster's turned over not only from, you know, just from 2021 until now. 4 years. We've had 90% roster turnover. That's how young we are. Maybe that's how far we are from competing. Maybe that's just proof that the rebuild is still here. Maybe it's proof of nothing. You know nothing. Let's talk about my coach. They're always coming after my coach, and I can't. You know, you can't do that. Why? You know, it's just like why? Why do they do that to my coach? Why do they? Where's the sound? Why do you do that to Mike Tomlin? I can't even find it.
I hope all Steelers fans just heard that from beginning to end and understand what a treasure. How lucky you are.
Lucky.
You're so lucky. You have no idea how lucky you are.
That's okay.
So lucky.
All right, enough, Rich. We got it. Let's get to the Mike Tomlin tweets. Starting with, oh gosh, can I not open my technical difficulties forever and ever? The tweet from at Max Stark 78, Max Starks the fourth. alumni. In case any Steelers fans wanted to know why Mike T is still leading the Steelers, this is a glimpse behind the curtain. And before you say, but he hasn't won a playoff game, listen to what's important, leadership. I recommend everyone listening to the Cam Hayward on the Pivot podcast. Cam Hayward went on Ryan Clark's podcast. Hey, of course, it always comes up. They want to know about Mike Tomlin. And, it's basically, I felt like it reverberated what I say, which is, I want Mike Tomlin to be the Steelers head coach despite the playoff wins, despite 8 years, no playoff wins. I'm fully aware of what that means. But Mike Tomlin is such a great leader that I want him head coach despite all that. Sure, other teams, maybe the coach is fired, but other teams don't have the leadership of Mike Tomlin. And Cam had a number of anecdotes, including how he wanted to retire and how Mike Tomlin turned that around. So I'll tease that. I recommend listening to Cam Hayward on the Pivot and Mel Blunt on Ben's podcast because good insight from both. The tweet on let's get more Tomlin tweets at P and S Steelers, plain and simple Maddie. Winning playoff games is more important than leadership. Okay, great leader and a player's coach, but can't win a playoff game for ish? I'd trade leadership for a playoff win any day, anytime, anywhere. That you must be a super young fan, plain and simple, because that's the thing. I will take having the greatest leader certainly in the city right now, in Pittsburgh. I will say maybe the greatest leader in the NFL, you could argue. And as some people, as Russ Wilson himself said, I think he's the greatest coach in sports. And I'll go a step further and say that Mike Tomlin is wasting his leadership on football. He should be running for the Senate or for governor. He can bring people together that in a time when this country needs it. His experience in leadership is being wasted right now in football. How's that for a hot take?
We can't speculate and recollect.
Well, I'll speculate. I think he would. I think he'd be a great senator and a great leader. No playoff wins. I don't care. I'd rather roll. I wish I had a leader like that in my workplace. I wish my bosses had the kind of leadership of Tomlin. Motivate me to show up for work each day. You guys don't know what you got until it's gone.
Coach T, besides my Lord and Savior, Coach T saved me.
Yeah. Not my favorite coach, not, a player's coach, not, my buddy. No, he saved me. Besides my Lord and Savior, Mike Tomlin saved me. That's Ray McLeod. As a Niner, not, didn't even have to pay lip service. We've heard it from Willie Colon. We've heard it again and again. Look, Rondé Barber had Tomlin present him his yellow jacket. All right. You know how I feel about Tomlin. If you don't, then welcome to What Yin's Talking About. This is your first time listening. And if you've made it 23 minutes in, then you must really like it. Okay. Let's move on because it's our other favorite time of the year. What's that, you say? The time when I play this song. Oi, oi. All right, got some work there. I don't care about the situation. All these mock drafts give me constipation. I don't know, I forgot the words. Well, it's the first time that we have heard the song in a year. But we all know the chorus. Let's go. There's only one way. There's only one way to mom. That's right. The mock draft season has come to what Jin's talking about. We waited as long as we could. I said no mock drafts till March. Then we said no mock drafts till we have a quarterback. Well, now with a soft deadline of April 21st, we may not make it to the draft. So let mock draft season start. And just remember the what Jin's talking about mock draft hypothesis. We believe that by studying mock drafts, you learn nothing. But if you study enough, a large enough sample, Steeler Nation can predict, well, if there's a 50% threshold in after all the mock drafts are tabulated, if we can find a 50% threshold at the position, that seems to be the way it goes. In the 3 years we've done this, we drafted quarterback, Kenny Pickett, and the mocks said quarterback. Malik Willis was the favorite, but as we know, it was Kenny Pickett. Then last year, it came down to cornerback or left tackle. And as we know, it went to Broderick Jones. So we hypothesized that it would be a 50% threshold in mock drafts to determine the position. Usually it's one of two. This past draft, 2024, we guessed, it came down to tackle or center were the two. And even though Troy Fautanu wasn't the odds-on favorite, we did narrow it down at least to tackle. So that's the theory going forward. And I'm at least open about it. I'm not these mock drafters who are making 10 of them and saying, what do you think? Do you think this one's the one? Because they get no right. Even the best mock drafts only get about 8 or 9 right in the first round, correctly picked. And they all happen in April. Nothing in January, February, March. Rarely are they that accurate. So why do we give so much credence to mock draft season? Gets the biggest clicks of the year for all the sites. US Depot, US Behind the Steel Curtain. Draft coverage gets the most clicks. I think it's because people use it like a game. You can make your mock drafts. It's like a fun game. It's like a bracket in the March Madness. By the way, go to behindthesteelcurtain.com to vote on Steelers March Madness. We have made it to the Elite 8. So if mock drafts mean nothing, we've found meaning in them ever so slightly. So let's get to the mock draft takes. At Pittsburgh Sport, Steelers takeaways. Here's a thought. If Fields and Darnold both refused to sign because the Steelers wouldn't commit to them as starters, maybe that means QB round 1 is more at play than some thought. Before I started studying the mocks, I would have said, no way are the Steelers drafting a quarterback first round again this year. Everyone says that this isn't the year for a quarterback. This isn't the class. Next year's class. But then the way the mocks have been falling, it's got to be up for consideration. The way these mocks go, it looks like it's going to be D-line or quarterback. I'd be shocked if they draft a quarterback. Only because I don't know these quarterbacks. But just from what I'm hearing, this isn't the quarterback class. It's next year. I would think it would be defensive end or defensive tackle, much like at PGH Steelers Now. Cameron Hayward supports Steelers drafting massive Michigan D defensive tackle. He looks like an alien. We're talking about Michigan's defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant. Sorry. Kenny Grant. Although it says Kenneth. Right? Grown men go by Kenneth. Guys with small hands go by Kenny. Kenneth Grant. Sacking Kenny Pickett. I don't watch. I can't say I watched the Michigan games. I think I watched a little bit of Michigan Ohio State, which was, that low scoring affair. So I don't know anything. I won't even say that I know anything about Kenneth Grant. But hey, Michigan, you got to love the pedigree. Isn't that why we went after Devin Bush? Part of the reason. So I'm looking at the DTs. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Because not everyone thinks it's going to be D-line. For instance, at Steelers Depot, Mark Cabali believes Keanu Benton could be the guy at defensive line and still doesn't buy the Steelers going defensive line in the first round. I'm not sold on defensive line in the first round. I'm still leaning toward Benton being the guy that gets the majority of the snaps and replacing Ogunjobi. From your lips, Cabali, to Khan's ears, or I guess it would be Tomlin's ears, if Benton is the man that elevates on that line, I'd say great. But from what we saw last year, it didn't seem like the D-line could play a 17-game season. Certainly the rushing defense gave up a lot at the end. So to say Benton is the answer, I don't think we've seen it yet. But that would, that if that is the case, then maybe they would go quarterback in the first round. Let's get to the mock draft tally. In just the first week that I've started, in the past, well, I shouldn't say because we never started this late before. But we're already in like the 20 mocks a week range. And I disqualified quite a few mocks. There was one from former Hater of the Year, Jared Bailey. I didn't even consider that because I think it said edge rusher or something. I was just, so if it was just off the wall, I didn't consider that mock. So here's the mock tally currently. After starting this week, I counted the mocks, and we're up to 15, 18, 21, 22, 23. We're up to 24 in 1 week, and it's not even April yet. So, wow, these Aprils, gosh, we're going to have 40 mock draft weeks coming up. Why are there so many mock drafts? Because it's easy content, that's why. Because no one wants to do the hard work, like creating a 64-team bracket on the history of Steelers front office moves. Only at BehindTheSteelCurtain.com can you find that. You might have to search for my name because I don't even... Third year in a row, Steelers March Madness. No one can put that kind of effort into content. But mock drafts, I can do that in less than 10 minutes. Here's the mock draft tally. We'll go backwards. 1 mock each. Running back, Ashton Jeanty, Boise State. Linebacker, Jalen Walker, Georgia. Quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, Colorado. 1 each. So as of now, you could say those are outliers. With 3 mock drafts. Defensive tackle from Oregon, Derek Harmon. Okay. I think some people are saying he'll go before this Michigan guy. Coming up next with 3 mock drafts. Running back from University of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton. Now, are Steelers really going to go running back first round after Najee, after all that? After Najee, 4 years of Najee and all for nothing? Couldn't even sign him to $6.9 million fifth-year option? So we're going to draft running back in the first round? It's got to be better than Najee. You can't do the same thing. And Najee was a rarity. First Steelers running back with 1,000-yard seasons in his first 3 seasons. Franco didn't. So it's got to be better than that if we're drafting running back in first round. Moving on to 7 mock drafts for second place. We've got the quarterback from Mississippi, Jackson Dart. This is who the mocks are mocking. If we go QB, I would be really surprised unless This guy is it. I don't know enough about him. All I hear is this is not the year for the QB class. At number 1 with 8 mock drafts, it's defensive tackle from Michigan, Kenneth Grant, including Cam Hayward's endorsement. And we've got some key mockers here. So Pursuta, he went with Jackson Dart. Dale Lawley went with Kenneth Grant. So did Matt Williamson. So the locals are going Dart and Grant. Dart, Grant, Grant. Mel Kiper is going Derek Harmon from Oregon, the defensive tackle. Okay. And then Alex Kozora is going Kenneth Grant. So Grant, Harmon, I'm down with either of that. Jackson Dart, count me suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Well, I think that's what we've been talking about today. Can anyone confirm that?
That's what we've been talking about.
Thank you, Coach. This is the time when I ask for your Apple iTunes reviews. That really helps us with the algorithm. It's the only thing we got going for us is the algorithm. So leave an iTunes review. By the way, I want to thank our new subscriber, Theo Isaacs. Theo Isaacs, our newest subscriber on YouTube. Really appreciate that. You can subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment, like, share, all the above. But leave a review on iTunes. That would really make my day. And don't you want to make my day? You can find me on the internet, on Twitter, on TikTok, at Kyle Kreis, on Insta. I'm not on Insta, all right? So it's like, oh, your account is inactive. Yeah, you'll find my stuff on there, but I'm not, if you have to message me on there, I guess that's how you can get a hold of me. But you just email KyleKreis@gmail.com. You could do that too. TikTok, though, follow me on TikTok. I'm not posting very frequently, but I'm watching, and I'll follow you back. TikTok is my thing. I don't know. I just like it better than Instagram. Instagram is everyone is saying, look at me, look at me. TikTok is like providing content for you. It's like TikTok is giving me content I want. It's not me having to look at you and be like, I get so resentful, and for no reason, no good reason. I just get resentful that, I'm not part of that, or I'm not doing those things, even if it's something I would never do. Like drive over the hill into Hollywood. Nope, I stay here in Happy Valley West, the San Fernando Valley. All right. Until next week, maybe we actually hear from Russ up in New York. Wouldn't mind hearing a press conference from Russ, find out what the heck happened. Or maybe we'll have a QB. Maybe we'll have Aaron Rodgers. Maybe we'll have a future gold jacket QB for the second year in a row. All right. Keep listening. Until we meet again, keep listening to your coach.
Be their best selves. That's going to be required.
Stay in school.